get appalled at. I'm blacker than Nina the Samoan. I just want freedom and want all these people left alone. How in the world is that chapping you? Laughable, you catch an attitude. Glad that you going back.
Roman Reigns makes a journey to Raw. Doesn't say a word almost all night. So let's talk about Monday Night Raw from September the 20th, 2021. We're going to talk about Roman Reigns and his jaunt to Raw, where he wins 2 matches in one night. I mean, unreal. Which means that Big E loses 2 matches in one night without getting beat in either match. This was very strange booking. So anyway, let's talk about this. So we start the show with Big E championship celebration, where he's there to give thanks to the New Day, thanks to New Day supporters. He forgives all of those who said that New Day sucks. So he's grateful for all his friends below the heavens and for his one incredible friend above. There's a smattering of Brody Lee chants. Of course, most people know him as Luke Harper. So it made sense that only a few people would really catch on to it. And then, so he's got business with the Bloodline, because Raw is the New Day show, and they're going to send the Bloodline packing. Then Roman comes marching to the ring wearing a red glove, and he says nothing. We go straight into the match. What was supposed to be the main event of the evening is the first match on the show, the Bloodline versus the New Day. And this is Roman's first Raw appearance in 2 years. And this match was very good. This match was good. They did a great job with Roman manhandling Kofi in that one spot. That was tremendous. He just launched Kofi like a football over. I did enjoy the ovation. This was important, and this is why I don't think they should have done the main event the way they did. There was a moment, and you don't get a lot of these, where Big E got into the ring with Roman Reigns for the first time, and people were standing up. Just like a couple of weeks ago when they had Lashley and Amos, and people were just the two of them staring at each other, and people were like, oh, they did that here. It was just Roman and Big E in the ring, and people were like, oh, and then, they fought a little bit. Big E, I didn't notice how often Big E does belly-to-belly suplexes. I didn't know he did them that often. We could have counted the belly-to-belly suplexes, but it was one that was pretty sweet because he countered Roman's Superman punch into a belly-to-belly suplex. And then things got weird because here comes Lashley, and he spears Big E, runs Kofi into the ring post, beats up on Xavier Woods. The referee is just watching this. And everybody's like, clearly this is a disqualification. Xavier Woods is in the ring. He turns around, gets speared by Roman, and gets pinned. So from here, Lashley continues to work his business. I messed up earlier. He didn't beat up Xavier Woods till after the match. He beat up on the Usos. He then spears Roman Reigns. He spears Big E through the barricade. He looks like an unstoppable monster man. He's laid waste to everybody. Great job. Really good stuff. Rob then goes to Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville and claimed that he was really hurt from last week, but said that he wants to fight Big E. He wants to fight Roman. Whichever one, he'll fight both of them. And we're not told this until, I think we're told around this time that MVP is out. So for all the people who said oh, the big gauntlet was a waste of everybody's time, this is why they didn't have the tag team championship match, because MVP was injured. So sure, I get upset at booking decisions too, but sometimes you probably need to think about things a little bit. So if MVP was hurt, I'm guessing he's supposed to have surgery sometime soon. I think he has a knee injury and a broken rib. So he might be out for a while. But that's why he didn't have the proposed MVP and Lashley versus Riddle and Orton match. And it's likely why everything feels so rushed and scrambled. Not just because they're trying to compete with Monday Night Football, but also, with that injury, that's a show that they had to scrap. Because that was a storyline that they had built in. That was something they was trying to do. And then they had to go ahead and scrap it. So Big E goes to Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville. He demands the match as well, match with Bob and Roman. Then Paul Heyman goes in there to make his match with Roman And Adam Pearce tells him that there's going to be a triple threat match. It's official. So that is the main event of our evening. It is Roman Reigns versus Big E versus Bobby Lashley in what felt like a house show main event. That's how random this match was. It felt like a house show main event. But this match ruled. Like, it was great. You got three pretty well protected guys in this match. Somebody had to take the pinfall, so of course it was Lashley. He was the only one not carrying the belt, so it made no sense to beat him. But Big E didn't beat him, so, but that creates so many problems, right? Because Big E is the WWE champion. He loses 2 matches on his show without getting beat. Roman wins 2 matches on his show without beating him. So like that's a weird booking decision, man. I wouldn't have done that. I really wouldn't have done that at all. I mean, but hey, I ain't the one with the book, right? So, but the match itself was really good. I like that Lashley countered the drive-by with a clothesline. I thought that was pretty sweet. The double splash by Big E, which I realized that I actually like. The Ultimate Warrior spot that he does when he bounces off the ropes. I think that was pretty sweet. Lashley put Big E through a table with a spine buster. That was pretty dope. I love the story of Big E almost beating Roman twice. The first time Lashley pulled him off after he hit the big ending. The second time he hit the big ending, Lashley attacked him with a chair and was just beating him with a chair. This, of course, distracted Lashley, so when he turns around, boom, he gets speared. 1, 2, 3. Roman wins. And this match was really fun. I really enjoyed the hell out of this match. And I wasn't expecting to, considering, again, it's hot shot thrown together. But it's something that you'll probably never see again, to be quite honest. I don't see any situation in which these 3 guys have to be in the ring together again. At least not anytime soon. So that's why I think that's probably why it felt like a house show main event to me. Because it was like, I didn't expect to see this. I'm enjoying this. But really, how are they going to tell a story with this? And it seems like that's the story that they decided to go with, is that Lashley has this fury at Big E and Roman was just kind of there. Since we had Roman Reigns on the show, he might as well wrestle on the show. Still, it was weird to have Roman come on Raw and win over the champion twice. I mean, it's silly. But, considering Big E didn't actually get beat, it wasn't that big of a deal, I guess. So I'm guessing, of course, Lashley and Big E is going to continue. They have not announced that the match is going to be in Extreme Rules. Speaking of Extreme Rules, they did not announce any stipulations for any match on Extreme Rules. The only thing they did was they announced that there would be a triple threat match for the United States title because Jeff Hardy defeated Sheamus. And another match that was actually pretty good. I don't know if I mentioned how much I love the Sheamus graphics. The Fight Night and the Donnybrook Lane. I really love them joints. Sheamus got busted open again in this match. I think his nose is just permanently broken at this point. So after the post match was Damian Priest and Sheamus fighting, which is fine. Damian Priest showed some pretty good intensity. Sheamus, despite the fact that he's a fighting guy, it made sense for him to sort of cower a little bit in this situation. Going back to the beginning of the show, Riddle was being annoying. Randy Orton wrestled AJ Styles in a match that really was a good match, but why? Felt like we saw this match 2 or 3 weeks ago. It seems like the combinations of these guys wrestling a lot kind of takes away from it. But, they always have good chemistry. They always have good matches. I wish AJ Styles could go up on the card, and not be in this tag team anymore. I feel like he's been in this tag team for 2 years, and it hasn't been nearly that long. So they put a lot of effort into Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. They actually showed a video package for it, with both of them claiming that they're the leader of the team and that the other one is nothing without them. To say that I watched this match would be a lie. Not that I didn't watch it, but I didn't pay that close attention to it. So I couldn't tell you what happened. I was just asking myself the question, like, who's the babyface? And we didn't really get the answer until the end. So Shayna Baszler wins with the Karafuda clutch. And then after the match, she viciously attacks Nia Jax, putting her hand in the steps and stomping it. Then she did the old Pete Dunne arm thing, and she stomped that too. And Nia Jax is just shrieking like, Ree! And that was really good for Baszler. Really put Baszler over. And I like that Shayna Baszler was kind of torn about doing it because I guess she still considers Nia Jax her friend. So that was a very interesting thing. I'm guessing they're going to separate these two in the draft. Personally, I think that obviously that means that Nia Jax goes to SmackDown. But it also means that they're likely to do another match between these two. Maybe with Nia Jax arming a cast or something like that. And that doesn't sound like fun at all. That doesn't sound like fun. But, maybe this is something different for Shayna Baszler now. Now, maybe, hopefully, we can do something different with her and get her over to do something else, for Christ's sake. Okay, so Mustafa Ali and Mansoor wrestled on Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo. This match was fun. I am a huge supporter of Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo as a tag team. I think that this is a long time coming. I think they should move to SmackDown. Like when I do my mock draft, which I don't know when it actually be up. I don't know when I'm actually going to do it. But I really suggest Garza and Carrillo get moved to SmackDown. To the heavy Mexican demo. Why not? WWE's old Mexican demo would love Garza and Carrillo, two young, handsome Mexican guys. And I love that, that's their gimmick. The gimmick is that they're young, handsome Mexican guys. And they're cousins. So that rules. Like, do you need any other reason for them to be a tag team other than they're blood related? It's like, can you explain why the Usos and Roman Reigns are hanging out with each other? Like, yeah, they're fucking family. What else? What else would it be? Mustafa Ali and Mansoor, they still have some potential. I don't know why they're losing so much, but somebody's got to lose. So it is what it is. Karrion Kross had a vignette, which is very interesting because I think he wrestled on Main Event, and I know a lot of people was about to flip their lid because Karrion Kross, Main Event. Speaking of which, since I got y'all here, Bearcat Keith Lee. Let's talk about that. I should have talked about that at the top of the show as a programming note. But since I was going to talking about Karrion Kross, who wrestled on Main Event, which is not a big deal, by the way. Guys wrestling. Jeff Hardy was on Main Event, not too long ago. It's a show that they produce for money, so whatever. But Bearcat Keith Lee, which some people don't like. Remember I told y'all a couple of weeks ago, Animals. This is a children's show that you're watching. Animals all the time. Now, I know it's a nod to the old wrestler Bearcat Wright. I do know that. If I remember correctly, he was, don't get me the line. I think he wrestled in the, I don't want to get him mixed up with Thunderbolt Patterson. I don't really want to. I want to say a champion of WWERA, when they had their own title, will be the Worldwide Wrestling Association, which, if I remember correctly, was a Vince McMahon senior thing when he was trying to move from New York to like the Ohio, Indiana kind of area. Like, that was ill-fated, but matter of fact, let me check. Okay, so after I checked, I was right about most of it, but I was wrong about the territory. The territory was actually in Los Angeles. So anyway, I don't know what the promotion was called when Vince was trying to come into the interior of the United States. It was kind of like in the middle of the country. I'm talking about Vince Sr. I don't remember what it was called. But Bearcat Wright was the world champion of the Los Angeles territory. And a lot of people were kind of upset at the whole Bearcat Keith Lee thing. I didn't think anything of it. I just looked at it like another animal name. I thought we were good with Limitless. I thought that was good enough. Like, I thought Limitless was fine. I don't know why we had to go with animal name. But until we actually see how it's put together, I can't tell you. But right now we just have a nickname. And I'm okay with nicknames. I think wrestlers need to go back to nicknames. Randy the Macho Man Savage or Macho Man Randy Savage. So he's going to be like the Bearcat Keith Lee or Keith the Bearcat Lee. Okay. And if it's a nod to and an older wrestler that most people didn't know, and I'm pretty sure a bunch of people Googled after the fact. And hell, like, even I had to Google it because I didn't remember where he worked at. So then that's good. That's okay. Just have to look at the package. Look at the presentation before I make a full decision. So the next segment was Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley versus Natalya and Tamina. Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley came out to do a Connor's Cure ad to talk about how much money was raised, and it was very somber. And Rhea Ripley completely forgot what she was supposed to say because she was so emotional. And it came across as being very realistic. And you know what? I'm going to cut her some slack. There's no point in even, I'm beating her up too much for something that, it's like when The Miz was doing the Diva Search thing, except for he was waffling out there and completely forgot what he was going to say. It wasn't that bad. She clearly was supposed to give like probably some direct figures to how much money they raised, but she completely forgot because she was so caught up in the moment of the what she was supposed to say here. So I'm gonna cut her some slack. But they dedicated the tag team title match to the kids and to everyone donating Connor's Cure. They led everybody doing V for victory. And Natalya and Tamina might as well just went out there and laid in the middle of the ring. Once they dedicate the match to the kids with cancer, there's no way they're gonna lose, right? So that's exactly what didn't happen. Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley become the tag team champions instead of Shotzi and Tegan Nox. Anyway, the finish came with Nikki countering a sharpshooter into a small package. Very, very bizarre finish because it took forever. Everybody had to wait for Rhea to do the pump handle slam on the ring apron to Tamina. That distracted Natalya, even though she had her in the sharpshooter position forever and she didn't actually put the move on. So then once Natalya starts paying attention, it's a roll up, it's a pinfall. Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley now are the tag team champions. And in less than 6 months, Rhea Ripley has won both titles. And in less than 6 months, less than 4 months, Nikki Ash has won both titles. So, at least they're doing something. I'm not thrilled about this. It's another eyeball pairing, just like RK Bro. But at least Nikki is getting a push. It wasn't a complete waste. At least Rhea Ripley is doing something. At least it's not a complete waste. But this is not a good usage for either one of them. Rhea Ripley should be the bull of the woods right now. It should be her and Shayna Baszler throwing bombs on each other. At the top of the card. Charlotte doesn't need this. Alexa Bliss doesn't need this. We'll talk about them in 1 second. But they don't need this. They don't need the title. They don't need anything that's going on with them right now. They could feud without the belt. Why not? Why aren't we making Rhea Ripley? But I guess we kind of are now that she's the champion. Nikki Ash is like a 4-time tag team champion. She finally did climb that line with the women's title, but it was very short-lived. And she do nothing but jobs at the time. So at least hanging out with Rhea Ripley, she's not going to lose as often. All right, so let's talk about the Alexa's Playground, because this segment was actually pretty good. And, some people have gotten really weird about the dolls. I will talk about the dolls last, because, I had a bit of a conversation with the AEW sexuals about these dolls. And so we'll talk about that later. So Charlotte is the guest on Alexa's Playground. And Charlotte's entire point here, I'm not going to go bullet point by bullet point, which, maybe I should stop taking notes that way, is that Charlotte wants to fight the real Alexa Bliss. The 5 Feet of Fury Alexa Bliss, not the one who's dressed like a little girl, not the one who plays with dolls. She wants to fight the real Alexa Bliss. And Alexa Bliss is saying, like, look, I know who I am. I know what I'm doing. I gave you Charlie because you needed a friend. You're a narcissistic, hateful bitch. But everybody needs some happiness, and that's what I was trying to do. And of course, I was like, I don't play dress up. I don't play with dolls. I was in the main event of WrestleMania. Now I got to wrestle a grown woman who dresses like a little kid. And so Alexa Bliss kind of shoots back, saying that, without the title, who are you? What are you going to say to these people? And then all the crowd chants, woo! too? And she says, like, that's not even originally yours. So then Charlotte says, let's not talk about lack of originality. And then even Alexa Bliss kind of had a little smirk on her face after that, which was, I thought was a nice little trade in barbs there between the two of them. It all ends with Charlotte saying that, you want to know who I am without the championship. And it said, sadly, you won't find out. So then they fight. Charlotte wins the initial scuffle. She then takes Charlie. She rips the head off of it. Everybody boos because they love the dolls. And then she's reaching for Lily. As she's grabbing Lily, Alexa Bliss jumps on her back. They scuffle a little bit more. And then Alexa Bliss hits her with a DDT. Charlotte rolls out of the ring and escapes. They 50-50 booked a post-promo fight scene. It's weird. Very bizarre. Just let Charlotte tear up the dolls, man. So this was a solid back and forth. They kept it pretty much kayfabe between the two of them. No unnecessary outside the ring digs. But it did a good job of trying to show everybody that Alexa Bliss is still who she is. Even though she is dressed the way that she is and she's talking the way that she is that she's still Alexa Bliss on the inside. Which kind of begs the question, why are we still doing this? Like, if she know who she is, why are we still doing this? I think that it was nice that Charlotte called out sort of the real Alexa Bliss. That's what she wanted. She wanted to fight the real Alexa Bliss. I like that, because that's what the Alexa Bliss everybody likes, even though she is incredibly over and probably making more money now because she has more gimmicks now. I think that everybody kind of does want that Alexa Bliss back. And maybe any tease that we can get to get that Alexa Bliss back without all the silly magic stuff is for the best. Charlotte, of course, does a great job of trying to bury everybody because that's really her character. And to be quite honest, she is the female Triple H. Back in when I stopped watching wrestling, for Christ's sake, what was it, 2001, 2002? When Triple H was the champion, he seemed to have no character other than I'm the champion. For Christ's sake, it just seemed like he was champion all the time just so he could say he was the champion. And that's a big problem for that, when wrestlers get in that position, they just have no character. That's how people fall off. Like, what is your personality? What is your character without the belt? And it shows that WWE did not do a good job of developing Charlotte. And everything that they tried to do with Charlotte without the title has involved Rick. And they can't bring Rick back. So now they're forced to do something with Charlotte. So it's going to be an interesting time. Especially considering I believe Alexa Bliss will win the title here. I think it's going to be an interesting thing. What is Charlotte going to do if she doesn't have a belt? Maybe if we forced some character development into Charlotte, she could actually be more interesting. If I was WWE right now, I would go in completely the opposite direction from Ric Flair. I would have her in leather jackets, doing something completely different. I would not have her as Charlotte Flair, Baby Flair. I wouldn't even be doing that right now. It's a bad time to be doing Ric Flair. So I think that Charlotte losing and then maybe ripping up her robes and, saying, you want to know who I am? And then she goes away for a little while, maybe 3 or 4 weeks. She retools her look, maybe cuts her hair or does something different. And she comes back as a completely different character. And we keep her away from the title for a while and we develop a new personality for her. I think that's for the best. That's a great idea. And now's the perfect time to do it because you can't, again, Charlotte Flair has 2 storylines. Storylines that involve Rick, which is usually her and Rick either working together or her and Rick fighting. That's the 2 Ric Flair storylines. And the 2 championship storylines are either she's the champion or she's a challenger. And that's it. Like those, she's been in the company about 8 years now. And that's been all of her storylines have been about either Ric Flair or the title. It's about time we start developing Charlotte as a person, as a character, and start looking into the kind of things that she likes and not just her being Baby Flair. And I think that's very important. And I think that's really the good thing about Alexa Bliss doing all this hocus pocus is that it has extended her character life because she was 5 Feet of Fury Alexa Bliss for a long time. She kept getting concussions and it slowed her progress a lot. But so she found herself as a character, which she already had, which is the reason she was getting pushed in the first place. And she was doing the little coffee things with Nikki Cross, and that extended the life of her character a lot. And then she started doing the things with Bray Wyatt, and that extended she wasn't taking bumps. She was just doing character work for the most part from week to week. And that extended the life of her character. So she has every right to take shots at Charlotte for never changing and not being and always being the same, you know. But Charlotte also has a good point that Alexa Bliss is doing hocus pocus and it's a bunch of dumb horse shit. Which brings me to the dolls and my Twitter conversation with the AEW sexuals. So they were very mad, the AEW sexuals were, that there was WWE fans chanting for the dolls and that they care for the dolls and that people were like, Charlie, Charlie, or Lily, Lily. And they got really upset. And I was like, you know, the things that people choose to get upset about makes no sense to me. Look, I know I don't like the dolls and shit either. I don't like the magic and all that horse shit. I don't hate all that stuff. But if we're going to sit here and act like, and I'm not going to say, well, AEW does it too, which is how I got into the whole argument in the first place, because I was like, these people were chanting for the fake kicks to the leg, the Orange Cassidy fake kicks, and you got people, playing into it. So once I called them out for that, the goalpost changed to, it's not magic. Then I was like, okay, so how about Matt Hardy changing clothes in the ice machine, the lake of reincarnation, and all this other dumb stuff? It's not the same. It's not the same. Like, you can just watch them pick up the goalpost and walk with it. But that's not even what I wanted to get into. What I really wanted to get into, and I saw other people doing it, was like, people have silly gimmicks all the time. You had the Perry Saturn and Moppy. You had Al Snow's head. People like, you had Pepper, the dog from, was that Al Snow as well? The dog that he had, that Big Boss Man killed and forced him to eat it. Like, people have weird items that they carry with them that becomes part of their character, and it becomes sometimes comedy. Sometimes it's a magical object. I really hate for it to be a magical object. But sometimes that it's the silliest thing that people get upset about. And for me, it seems that the horseshit WWE does gets more hate than the horseshit everybody else does. I mean, for fuck's sake, Impact has 3 demon witches right now running around kidnapping women and turning them into monsters for little to no reason. They had a Dragon Ball energy fight on Impact. I think it was last year or 2 years ago. Like, this stuff is... Wrestling has become complete horseshit within the last couple of years, man. And nobody's, better than anybody else on the subject. Just like, because everybody loved The Fiend, and then they hated him. They loved him, then they hated him, then they loved him when he got fired. And people always claim that they hate the magic stuff, and then Matt Hardy does it, and everybody likes it. And then Jeff Hardy says he wants to do Willow, and everybody like, yay, I want to see Willow. And then they say, well, I hate all the magic shit, but I love the demon. It's like, this... Come on, man. It's horse shit. You gotta take the bitter with the sweet. Like, when I became a fan of The Undertaker, I had to take it that, other people was gonna do magic. Because once you have Undertaker, you open the door for Kane. And, Papa Shango, for Christ's sake. The Ultimate Warrior in some ways was a magical character. He was like a shaman. No, most people didn't really catch that. That's what made me think for a long time that Jim Hellwig was like Native American. I don't want to go into my conspiracy theory about Jim Hellwig being Native American, but I believe that the Ultimate Warrior as a character was basically like a shaman, like he could summon spirits and stuff, because I mean, what else do you think he was doing when he's like looking up to the heavens and pulling things down, and the shaking, it's like he's going into trance, right? You have to know about shamanism to know how that works. One day I'll probably sit down and talk to y'all about shamanism. But I think the Ultimate Warrior was a shaman, for real. Like, once you accept the Ultimate Warrior and his shamanistic superpowers, and Papa Shango and Undertaker and Kane, and once you accept all that stuff, the Fiend, the Lily dolls, all that shit just follows naturally thereafter. And if you want to get rid of magic, you have to get rid of it all. So it's bullshit, but it is what it is. So the last thing we got here is Drake Maverick and his plan to score the 24/7 title. I love these vignettes. They're not long. You know, these segments rather. They're not long. They're straight to the point. You could tell what the characters are trying to do. It's very Looney Tunes in a way because Reggie is smarter than all of these guys combined. It involved the Net, Truth, Gulak, and Tozawa. And obviously, they utterly failed. And Drew Gulak got caught up in the net, and Reginald climbed some things and escaped them. We're not doing a good job of developing Reginald's character, but we are doing a good job of putting him in situations that are entertaining. So I guess that's for the best. And Drake Maverick can pull out some pretty good comedy when he wants to. So all in all, I think except for the copy pasta matches that we saw 100 times, like AJ Styles and Randy Orton, like Eva Marie and Doudrop, you know, I don't even want to talk about that. You know, it was a very solid episode of Raw. Surprisingly solid, because I really enjoyed the in-ring work and the microphone work from Alexa Bliss and Charlotte, which I wasn't expecting. So here's hoping that Extreme Rules get some extreme kind of stipulations over the next 6 days. All right, let me know what you guys thought about the show. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, donate to the channel. Thank you guys for your time, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Tell me what's worse than learning all that you led to believe was all horse crap. They distort so questions.